Hey there, coaches. Me, Dax, coming to you live and direct from the absolutely gorgeous. I'm just outside of Vegas. In fact, I was just about to say the absolutely gorgeous Vegas. I'm outside, so you can see the mountains just there in the background. I've just finished 3 days of my high-ticket coaching blueprint program here, where I've been, had the awesome pleasure to have a bunch of truly great coaches in the room, learning how to basically show up in the world as their most powerful, the most impactful, their most purposeful, their most passionate, and ultimately their most highly rewarded versions of themselves. So we speak quite a lot here about living the dream life, okay? But in order to live that dream life, you have to really build the dream business, right? And because a dream, very few of us are kind of ever going to have the kind of job that pays us the kind of money. So you need the dream business. And in order to build that dream business, you need to attract your dream clients. And your dream clients are only ever going to come to you in your business, like those people who will stay more and play more and pay more. They're only ever going to come to you in your business if you are building out the dream products, right? So the things that you get really behind, that you find really inspiring to talk about all the time, the things that you feel really passionate about, the things that you are completely connected to. And in order to kind of attract those dream clients, you have to build out product suites that are based around your own personal magic, your own personal purpose, and all that kind of stuff, right? And then in order to actually do that, in order to build out the dream product, the dream service, you need to be the person who is stepping into becoming the dream version of yourself. So what does that mean? It means showing up in the world completely in alignment with your values, or at least in alignment with your values most or a lot of the time. Expressing those purposefully, expressing those passionately, being seen to be the kind of person that other people aspire to. It means actually showing up with your beliefs, being presented publicly and purposefully to the world. And it means being kind of passionate in the way you live your life, passionate and purposeful, right? So we got your dream self leads to creating the dream products and services, leads to creating the dream clients, leads to creating the dream business, leads to creating the dream life. And effectively, if you skip any one of those steps, what you're bringing into your life is the chance that something is going to turn into a nightmare. You're going to live the nightmare life, or you're going to build a nightmare business that that you feel chained to, or you're going to attract nightmare clients, or your product suite becomes a bit of a nightmare because you build it because it promises some financial return, but you don't enjoy it anymore. Or you end up, like attracting the nightmare clients in. So you end up with this nightmare existence and the nightmare self, who is effectively questioning themselves all the time. Okay, so that is the foundation for the high ticket coaching blueprint. Is working toward building the dream life by building the dream business, by attracting the dream clients, by building the dream product suite, by showing up in the world as much as possible as your dream version of yourself. Take a breath, Dax, right? So that's the kind of the core essence behind it. And you might be kind of listening to this and thinking, yeah, all that pie in the sky and motivational theory, we can't build the dream life. Yes, we can. And we can do it very, very simply once we look at creating a very strategic and purposeful approach to the way we do that. And that's what we focus on here. For 3 days, we deep dive into people's lives, into the mindsets, into the kind of the thought patterns that are keeping them stuck. Because the reality is that the amount of money that we earn is based upon how we show up in the world. Not how valuable the product itself may be, not what the market will tolerate, all that kind of stuff that you've been taught time and time and time again. But you are rewarded in direct proportion to how much of you shows up in the world on any given day. Okay, so we spend a lot of time deep diving instead of just kind of looking at how can we build a better product and where do we find our avatar. What you'll find in the high ticket coaching blueprint, the avatar is one of the very last things we ever address. Okay, not the first, one of the very last. And there's a reason for that. The belief is really quite simple. Until you can sell yourself on your belief system, until you can sell yourself on your ideas, until you can sell yourself on your values, you've got no business trying, literally and metaphorically, reaching out into the world and trying to figure out what's going on inside someone else's head. When you really think about that, it makes no sense. And yet that's what all of us have been trained to do, right? Find a thirsty crowd, give them a drop of water, and kind of sell them the glass, that kind of thing. with the high ticket coaching blueprint and with the high ticket approach that I've seen to be successful, it always starts with self. Who am I? What do I believe? What am I about, right? So here's a list of some of the things that we've identified that keeps a coach from being able to make high ticket sales. And not just a coach, it's anyone who's in high ticket selling, but in particularly coaching. So number one is that you say yes to too many. Okay, you say yes to too many people in their entirety, because we've been taught to scale up, scale up, scale up. And if 10 clients are good, then 100 clients must be better, kind of thing, right? We say yes to too many. So we say yes to too many in terms of numbers, but we say yes to too many people who are clearly not a good fit for what we do. They don't already know us, like us, trust us. They don't already buy into our philosophy. So we spend most of our time instead of being influential, we spend most of our time having to be persuasive. Okay, so kind of the first thing is that we say yes to too many. The second is we look out to the market. What is the market doing? What are the going rates? I'm a coach in my town. What are other coaches in my town charging, and all that kind of stuff? It pulls us off our game and instead pushes us into the next one, which is a competition, right? It pushes us into competition. Wow, either I have to be at the going rate, or I consider myself better than that person, so I'm going to charge more. Or, Tony Robbins is one of my neighbors, and kind of he's charging this, I can't charge anywhere near that, right? It moves us into a competition style of showing up in the world, rather than just a declarative version of ourselves. This is me. This is what I do. This is who I work with. This is what I charge. Take it or leave it. Okay, so would you rather be in the world declaratively, this is me, or would you rather be in the world competitively, what is everyone else doing, right? Because we can spend our lives looking at what different ends of the market are doing and confusing the hell out of ourselves. Next, you work outside of your magic. Okay, deliberately spelt that way. I'll tell you about that in another video, right? But we work outside of our magic. Our magic is our unique skills, gifts, attitudes, and abilities that, when they're combined, are unique to us, right? So some of my magics would be, I have a skill set and a desire to make everything extremely simple. So one of the things that people that attend my programs will tell you is I can take very complex topics and make them extremely simple. I also have the ability to storify anything, so build things into stories. So as long as I'm simplifying and storifying, okay, and then I'm bringing out the very personal essence of a person's existence, if you will. As long as I'm doing those things, I make a lot of money, and I make a lot of money because I make a lot of impact. And I make the impact because all I'm doing is showing up with my magic. Now, if I show up in any other way outside of my magic, people start to lump me into groups with other people. It pushes me back to the market, and it pushes me back to potentially competing. Where in your business have you started to operate outside of your magic? You've persuaded yourself that you have to do all of these things, rather than, I'm really good at a handful of things, let me just do those. And let me maybe give referrals to people to go and work with other people that are trying to work outside of my magic. Next, you overpromise. Okay, because you are competitive, you look to the market, you see that Dax Moy is offering all of this in his program, and you think, oh, damn, well, if he's offering that, I best offer that plus one, right? So by plus oneing, you up your promises, and as you up the promise, you downgrade your skill in many respects, because if you can't keep it, if you're not as good as you say you are, or you're not able to fulfill that promise, like I don't promise people traffic because I'm not a Facebook ads expert. So what I talk about is what happens once your traffic meets your business. If I was to promise the traffic side of things, I would then diminish my offering, right? People would be really, really disappointed. You don't love your product. Right, it's so important that you absolutely, definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, fall in love with the products that you're putting into the marketplace. And that means hitting pause on things that don't seem to, not just because they don't seem to be selling, but you haven't sold it internally to yourself. Like, I really love this, and I want to talk about it all day, every day. Because ultimately, the things that make you the most money are the words you speak and the words you write. Okay, if you love something, you speak about it all the time. If you don't love something, you put it out into the marketplace and you kind of forget about it. Next, you don't communicate your value. You don't point blank explicitly tell the world, hey, this is what I'm really amazing at. This is what I'm going to help you to do. Your life is going to change in these ways. Instead, we overpromise like what our programs can do, and we kind of diminish ourselves. How about if we did it the other way and we communicated our real value? Here's what I'm amazing at. Here's what I'm committed to. Here's what I'm going to show up in your life as, and how your life is going to transform as a result. You don't commit. You don't truly commit. Where in your business have you not committed? You know, you've put a couple of posts out and then you've stopped. You put a couple of Facebook ads out and then you've stopped. You've told yourself that you want to go high ticket, but you put a couple of things into the marketplace, no one responded, so you stop. What would committed look like in your coaching business? If you were to truly show up as committed, what would that look like? Next, you don't believe in you, right? It's impossible in the coaching arena, and unethical, I would say, but I truly believe it's impossible to sell something that you don't believe in. You know, if you're saying, I can't really do this, but let me try and sell this to someone else, first off, it is unethical. But secondly, you'll realize after making, if you're lucky enough to make 1 or 2 sales, you'll realize that people are complaining about what you've sold them, people are underwhelmed, and that will just knock your impact and your self-esteem even lower. And as your self-esteem and impact goes down, what happens? You stop selling, right? So you don't believe in you. Do you believe in you? And this ties back in to the over-promising thing. If you can just reduce the size of your promises, you'll increase the amount of sales simply because you can get 100% behind your messages. Next, you don't believe in them. You don't believe in the clients you serve or the marketplace you serve or the individual who's sitting right in front of you right now who's asking to become a client or can I buy your stuff? And you don't really believe that they're going to do it, right? So then it becomes really difficult to sell high. It becomes difficult to sell anyway, right? But it becomes pretty much impossible to sell high ticket when you go, well, this person's going to give me the money. 2 months into this, they're going to ask me for a refund. I can tell I don't believe in this person. It becomes very difficult to show up that way. So there's 10 really simple reasons about why you're not making high ticket sales right now with your coaching business. I'd love for you to take a couple of minutes and scan that again, like watch over the video again and ask yourself, you know, you're a coach, you're in the business of truth telling. Ask yourself, what is the truth about these situations? Am I saying yes to too many? Am I spending my time looking at the market? Am I in competition? Am I working outside of my magic? Am I over-promising? Am I out of love with my product? Am I failing to commit my value? Am I less committed than I thought I was? Am I in a place where I don't fully believe in myself relative to the conversations I'm having in the marketplace? And am I in a position where I don't fully trust the clients that I'm trying to attract to this business? If you can ask those questions and answer them honestly, you'll see where you've got work to do and you'll see exactly what needs to change in your business in order for things to get dramatically better. The flip side of that is if you don't do that, you're always going to be looking to everyone else to validate you. You're always going to be checking the marketplace to see whether you're allowed to charge a certain fee and so on and so forth, right? So I hope this has been useful. This is like pretty foundational to the high ticket coaching blueprint. We go really deep into each one of these areas. We create maps and we create systems and we create simple pathways to actually make all of your kind of transition into being a high ticket coach not just possible but very probable. But it all starts here. It's all based on this. Ask the questions, answer them honestly. I'd love to hear what your responses are. Take care.